Good morning, everyone. So it is Monday, April 13th, and it is cold outside. Currently, the temperature is in the 20s, with the chill factor making it into the teens. Welcome to spring in Kansas, because a couple days ago, Saturday in fact, the day before Easter, we actually had to have the air conditioner running because it was in the 80s. Then starting Sunday on Easter, the weather got a little crazy. Yesterday, the weather just got nuts. It got windy and cold, and you couldn't almost hear yourself think. It was so cold out and so windy. My parents, who live in Marion, which is like 10 minutes away, Saturday, while we had 80 degree weather, we had a little bit. They had massive hail the size of golf balls. Then yesterday, they lost power for 4 hours. That is the kind of spring that we expect in Kansas. So because it's so cold outside, I have decided to make some soup. Now, you know Wednesdays are Disney recipe days, and so I am going to be making Disneyland's loaded potato soup. The recipe that I found that seems about the easiest to follow. It is from sixsistersstuff.com, and this serves 8. It takes 15 minutes of prep time, 30 minutes of cook time. So let's get started making some soup. So the ingredients list you will need are 1 pound of bacon roughly chopped, 1 medium yellow onion diced, 1 large carrot peeled and diced. I am going to actually use 12 baby carrots. I looked up the equivalency. I keep more baby carrots on hand than the large carrots, so 1 large carrot equals about 12. 3/4 cup of diced celery. You will need 4 large russet potatoes, like baking potatoes, diced. You will also need 4 medium red potatoes, diced. 1/4 cup of flour. 2 cups chicken stock or chicken broth, works fine. Salt and pepper. 4 cups of heavy whipping cream. And then optional, according to Six Sisters Stuff, is something that they just added because they thought it sounded good, is 1 can of corn drained. I actually think that sounds really good, and because Sam doesn't like potato soup and he doesn't like corn, I'm going to make it this way just because I can. So let's wash our hands and go get started. Now, something to note, the recipe calls for 4 cups of heavy whipping cream. Now, I actually don't have heavy whipping cream on hand. When I decided to make this recipe, the first thing I did after I read the recipe was I Googled, can I make heavy whipping cream? Because quite frankly, heavy whipping cream comes in teeny tiny little cartons, and needing 4 cups of heavy whipping cream, that was going to get expensive. So I found, according to the spruceeats.com, and I will link both the recipe and this heavy cream substitute link in the description below. You can make 1 cup of heavy whipping cream with 3/4 cup of milk and 1/3 cup of butter. And it says that the preparation is to melt the butter on the stove, or you can melt it in the microwave for 10 seconds at a time. They say to cut the butter up into small pieces. So I will probably use my stick butter for that. I just have to kind of look at that. But I also did... when Sam and I did grocery shopping, I didn't realize that he had picked up butter. So I had grabbed a container of butter from Dollar General, and it was like a $1 container. So if I need to, I can use that. So I will be using 1 1/3 cup of butter, and the equivalency, I've got to do the math real quick. But I'll be doing 4 3/4 cup of regular milk to substitute for the heavy whipping cream. Like I said, just because where I'm at the current time, heavy whipping cream, I can sometimes get it farm fresh in a bigger bottle. But right now they aren't offering that. I can only get it from Highland in the itty bitty little, like smaller than a school lunch milk type container, and getting 4 cups that way would have cost me so much money. This is stuff I've got on hand. I can make it super simple, easy, and it doesn't cost me anything. Okay, on to the kitchen. Okay, so we're in the kitchen and we have got all the ingredients surrounding my workstation here. So the first thing we're going to do is we are going to start by chopping up our bacon. It does call for 1 pound. The largest package I could find is 12 ounces, so it'll be a little less bacon than it calls for, but it should work just the same. I did pick this up in town. If you have a meat counter where you live, you could probably go up to the meat counter. They typically do have bacon, and say, hey, I need a pound of bacon. So we're going to drop this. Grab a paper towel over here. Wipe my hands off a little bit. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to take my knife, holding it with my paper towel. I do not like the feel of this. Oh my gosh. Okay. And I'm simply going to rough chop it into just bigger chunks. It calls for a rough chop, so I figured this is about as good as a rough chop. It doesn't want it to be like perfect, so I can just peel this apart and throw it into my skillet or my pot. I have a 5-quart stock pot behind the camera, and I'm just going to simply turn that on low. I apologize for things falling in the background. All right, let's finish up dealing with bacon. I have finished with the bacon. I have wiped down and cleaned up my cutting board and my knife, and my skillet or my stock pot for my stove is on a 3, which is pretty medium heat, and I have the bacon starting to cook. So while I am doing that, I am going to work on chopping up my onion, my carrots, my celery. I have found that I can get somewhere about 10 slices to 1 carrot of these baby carrots. It just depends on the length of the carrot and how close to my own fingers I want to slice. All right, I've got 4 of 12 done. Why I'm chopping them one at a time, not quite sure. All right, I'm gonna chop up these 2, grab 1 more carrot, since like they decided to go shoom everywhere. So I will grab 7 more carrots, finish up chopping, and now we know why Lena was only chopping 1 at a time. So there's a little bit missing. As you can tell, I'm now onto onions instead of carrots. Somehow my phone stopped recording, so we're keeping going. Okay, so somehow my camera turned off while I was chopping onion. So I have already chopped and added 1 medium onion to my carrots. My celery calls for 3/4 of a cup diced celery. And roughly that's going to be, in my guesstimate, about 3 stalks. So, simply going to clean up the ends and start dicing. And position you back where you were. Because somehow I have knocked you guys around. Okay. So what I have done, I have a big bowl kind of out of the sight of the camera, and I have my onion and my carrots already chopped and in that bowl, and I am currently cutting up my celery. Like I said, it calls for 3/4 of a cup, and I estimated that would be roughly about 3 stalks. My bacon is still cooking away in the pot behind the camera as well. Take this, put it in my bowl. Sam has promised me this summer that he is going to build me a wooden platform for my stove so that when I'm doing cooking with you guys, you won't see my ugly stove. I'm going to crank up the heat on this bacon because this bacon is just taking way too long for me. I'm waiting on my bacon to finish cooking. I'm going to go ahead and get started on my potatoes. You can hear, now that I've cranked up the heat on my bacon, it is starting to sizzle and pop. That's what we want. So I am simply starting to dice up my potatoes. I remember I have to do 4 large regular and 4 white red, but because my regular potatoes are a little smaller, I will do 5 of this regular type of potato. I have it draining on a paper towel. I'm going to set this aside and I'm going to continue with chopping my potatoes. I already have dumped the carrot, celery, and onion into the pot. I have given it several quick stirs. I just have it on kind of low because I want to make sure that it doesn't get done before I'm ready to put in the potatoes. Okay, so our potatoes are finally all chopped up. Our onions are translucent, so I'm going to dump the potatoes into the pot and I'm going to set a timer for 4 minutes. And then we're going to continue on. Since I'm done chopping, I did move the pot from the back burner to the front burner. The front burner is a bigger surface area, so it will cook the way I want it to. Alright, 4 minutes. I'll see you back then. Alright, so it has been 4 minutes, and the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to add in 1/4 of a cup of flour, and I will be using Bob's Red Mill 1-to-1 gluten-free baking flour. So it calls for 1/4 cup. And it says to whisk it in, but I'm just gonna, since I don't have a whisk, I'm simply going to stir it in very well. So it says that we're going to stir it in, whisk in until thickened, between 5 to 7 minutes. I don't know how you would whisk with this much stuff, so this may be the best way to do it. Kind of like chop it with your spoon. I'm just using a spoon from Dollar Tree. Okay, so I'm going to continue on this, and we will see you back here in about 5 minutes. Okay, so we're back, and the next part of the recipe states that we're going to add 2 cups of chicken stock. I just have a Best Choice brand, so here we go. We're going to add in our chicken stock. It would be 2 cups would equal 16 ounces, so if you are able to find a smaller box, you can 100% probably find a 16-ounce box. I happened to get this on sale a while ago for $1 at soup season. And so I have a 32-ounce box, so it was roughly half a box. And then it also states to put in half of our bacon. So I'm simply going to just kind of eyeball it and throw bacon in. Alright, then it says on a medium-high heat, so for my stove I'm going to consider that a 5. We're going to simmer for 25 minutes. So I'm going to get this all stirred through, and we'll see you guys back in 25 minutes. Alright, so we're kind of about in the middle of our 25-minute cooking process. It got really thick really fast. Like, there was no cooking liquid left at all. So over the past a little bit, I've actually added another 3/4 cup of chicken broth, just so that it actually had something to cook in. The recipe does state that you may have to add more chicken stock as needed. I would definitely make sure to keep an eye on your mix, because you may have to add more of the chicken broth while you are cooking it during this 25 minutes. Something to note. So I've got roughly about 5 minutes left on my 25 minutes of my simmer. So I'm going to be working on making my homemade heavy cream. I have put, it calls for 4 cups of heavy whipping cream, and according to my recipe online, it takes 1/3 of a cup of butter to 2/3 of milk to make heavy whipping cream, and you melt it. So I have the Orlando Guy mug that Richard from the Orlando Guy sent me. Thank you very much. It's nice and tall, exactly what I need. So I actually have 3 of the 4 servings in this cup. I'm going to pop it in the microwave covered with a paper towel just for about 10 seconds, and we will continue to do 10-second intervals until it is fully melted. So our butter is melted and it is in the pot, and the milk is going to equal 2.5 cups. So I'm going to measure that out, and then we'll keep stirring. Okay, so the milk and the butter is in, making our heavy cream. I have turned my stove back up, and now this cooks for 5 minutes. I'm going to add some salt and pepper, and this, I can already tell, is going to be fantastic. So our soup is done, and I have it in my mug using my Orlando Guy mug. I washed it out after using it to melt my butter. I have added some of the leftover bacon, because we only put half of our cooked bacon into the soup to cook, and I added some shredded cheese. So let's get a bite. blow on it to cool it off a little bit because it just came off the stove. That is really good. It's thick and it's creamy, and the vegetables are cooked just enough that they just melt in your mouth. The celery still has a little bit of its structural integrity, so it's not like mushy soft. It's still got a little bit of like structure to it. So it's like you can chew some of your soup, and I kind of like that. I like the nice big pieces of potato. This is the perfect soup for a cold winter day in Kansas, even though it's spring. And you can see that nice little string of cheese there from my choppings. This is unbelievable. So I will link the recipe down below. I didn't end up adding corn to it. Tasting it, I think corn might really be a nice addition to it next time I make this, because this is definitely on my top 10 things to make again. Even though Sam won't eat it, he can eat pasta. I would probably add corn to it next time just to see how it is. I really wanted to try it like I don't want to say correct way, because everybody manipulates recipes their own way, but the original way. I'm really pleased with how this heavy cream hack turned out. And I used the tub of Dollar butter / margarine from Dollar General. And it doesn't melt clear like some other butters did. It got just like very liquidy and loose. So, and I wasn't quite sure, but it worked out perfect. I will mention again, the recipe does say that you may have to add additional chicken stock, broth, or water to your soup to make it creamier. I did find that in the cooking process, about halfway through, I did have to add about another 3/4 of a cup of chicken stock. I would rather add chicken stock or chicken broth than water. It keeps the flavors melded together. And water and soup just doesn't jive for me. I'm really glad I did. It turned out absolutely perfect. I 100% will be making this again. So I'm going to leave you here. Thank you so much for watching. If you are new to the channel, I'm so glad that you're here. We are doing cooking videos every Wednesday, so come back for more theme park / vacation / destination recipes. If you have a recipe that you'd like me to make, maybe you're scared to try it, shoot me a message on Instagram. I'll take a look and see what we can do. Thank you again so much for watching, and we will see you in the next video. Bye! Hey guys, just letting you know, Sam ate some of the potato soup and he thought it was great. He said it was the perfect type of potato soup. It was creamy and thick. 100% enjoyed it, and he said he would eat it again. Bye!